We got several questions sort of in a row about dandruff.
Yeah,
What causes it?
hmm
What's the best thing to do about it?
right. The primary cause is really an organism which is a normal inhabitant of that scalp. It's called, used to be called Pterosporum, it's now called Malassezia. And that particular organism tends to increase in numbers when the microbiota of the scalp is disturbed. And it can be disturbed when the barrier layer, due to the use of shampoos or lotions or things that you apply on the scalp, are irritating to that scalp. And for instance, people who have thinner hair, they will get dandruff here up on the top, basically because of exposure to light from above, which may be a photosensitizer when they're taking some kinds of a drug that's photosensitizing, like many of the hypertension medications or diabetes medications. And so it depends. I recently had a patient actually who had, very interestingly, dandruff here on two areas of the scalp. And it wasn't until after some detective sleuthing questions about what do you do in those areas, I found out that he was using a for snoring, that
The
gadget,
apnea.
and it has that thing here
And
that,
he was allergic to the
yeah,
rubber.
and he was allergic to that.
Okay,
Right.
so in a nutshell, right? Dandruff, you're not.
Can be from molestation, number
Right,
one,
okay.
but very often the reason it's overgrowing is because certain things are happening in the scalp skin. All right?
Right. Or, okay, so dandruff is really, though, an imbalance in the microbiota. So that the malassezia is going a little.
Basically, yes.
Right? It's having too much of a party.
Right.
Okay. But it can also be, it's not dandruff, but flaking on the scalp can also be from an irritation or an allergic reaction to something.
Yes, of
Right?
course.
So sometimes the flaking may not even be dandruff. So that might be something to first clarify with your dermatologist. Is it actually dandruff, which is a fungal condition, or is it skin that's flaking because it's so dry because it's irritated from an allergen in your shampoo or your gel or something
Or
like
your
that?
yeah.
Right?
For men, for instance, when they're using waxes and
Right.
gels in the scalp.
Or your pillow.
Yeah. And
Your
then it drips down
pillowcase.
into the scalp skin when they're exercising.
Right, for
So
example.
I always tell them, don't put that on before you go. You can put a little bit of it
It
after
can also be a
exercise.
sign of psoriasis, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And so if it's really chronic flaking, it really might be time to ask your dermatologist for a more definitive diagnosis.
Yeah.
Because it can be a few things.
Often
right?
it begins with dry, itchy skin of the scalp, and then it becomes what a dermatologist at the beginning may call seborrheic dermatitis, which is basically that, an overgrowth of the Malassezia organisms. But if now it becomes thick red patches and in areas, it's not generally not all over the scalp, then you have to think about this is
Psoriasis.
already psoriasis.